Want to learn more about the 2,000-acre park right here in our backyard and one of the rangers that makes sure that it's a nice place to go play? Tune in now.
Welcome to Discover Statesville, the show that takes you on a captivating journey through the heart of one of North Carolina's most charming towns.
Welcome back, everyone. We are so excited to have our next episode of Discover Statesville right here in So Media Studios in the heart of downtown Statesville. And today I am super excited to have with us Frances Cassarino, who is a park ranger, the lead education ranger, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I read recently at Lake Norman State Park, which is an amazing destination asset we have in our community. So welcome. We're so excited to have you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So we happen to have the benefit of knowing a little bit more about you because we interviewed you for an article recently,
Yes.
Which will be included when we put this podcast up, but it's also out on our website. But I found it interesting to learn, talking about you a little bit first, that you actually get to live on the park, in the park, right, with your family?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so one of the perks, well, I think it's a perk of being a park ranger in North Carolina is some of us do get park housing. So we live on the park, so my backyard is the woods.
Quite literally your backyard,
Yeah.
2,000-acre backyard. That's pretty amazing.
Well, it makes me care about it even more.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So I definitely think that's one of the perks because you're living where you're working, so the commute's not too bad. It's not too bad of a house either.
Sure.
Yeah, so I can't complain. There's four of rangers get housing at Lake Norman State Park when we're fully staffed. Yeah.
I did not know that, and I found that very interesting. Wanted to share that with everybody.
Oh, yeah, and it helps easy. If there's ever an emergency that happens, we're all right there. So if it's all hands on deck, we're all at the park, so it's...
No reason to be late for work or anything
Yes,
like that.
yeah.
I get it. No,
Well, that might be a downfall.
Hey, no, I think that's a win. I think that's a win. So, Frances, how long have you been with Lake Norman State Park?
So I've been at Lake Norman State Park for just over 3 years.
Okay.
I've been with the division for 4 years.
Okay, so where were you before Lake Norman?
I was at Myrtle Beach State Park.
Oh, that's not a bad place to be either.
Yeah, out on the coast.
Yeah,
So-
Fair Island, yeah, that's great.
Also a beautiful place. Yeah.
So overall, how long have you been in the park system?
4 years.
Okay.
Just over 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've had the blessing of having you the longest.
Yes. Moved here and I love the area, so it's hard to beat. You're close to the mountains. You can go to the city if you want to. And then,
Access.
Yeah,
Yeah,
access
that's
everywhere.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Meredith on our team had the opportunity to interview you and really interview you before this podcast. And what really stood out to her is just your pure passion. That I guess you had mentioned that it's definitely not a job. It's definitely your passion for the outdoors, and that as you were coming through education and stuff, you knew that you didn't want to work inside at a desk.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that part of you.
So in college, I got a part-time job at Myrtle Beach State Park down in South Carolina. And there I was full-time educator during the summer. So we would do up to 20 programs a week for the public. And I loved it being outside. And the more I got into my degree, the more I realized I did not want to be in a lab all day. So I was going for marine science and biology. And a lot of those jobs are cool, but a lot of them spend a lot of time indoors.
Right.
And that is not where I like to be. So with that job, I realized I wanted to do more for the parks other than just education. So I moved over to being a ranger down in South Carolina. Worked there for about 3 years at 3 different state parks down there. And then realized I still wanted more. I wanted more. In North Carolina, the cool thing about our park system is we're educators, we're law enforcement, we're wildland firefighters, we're emergency medical responders, we're search and rescue certified. So we get all these different umbrellas or hats that we have to wear that are part of our job. So it's never boring, and everything you're doing is helping our natural resources and helping the public to create the place where they can come to the parks. So,
That sounds amazing.
yeah.
It's a lot of responsibility.
It is a lot of responsibility, but if you're passionate about it, it's definitely a great career, especially if you creating those outdoor spaces. My passion is for kids and having kids come to the park and creating that spark in that moment where they're like, well, I don't want to look at my phone anymore. I don't want to be inside all day. I want to come outside. I want to go on the trails, go on a paddle board, see nature, see a cool animal or a tree.
Sure.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
Definitely love that.
Speaking of the kids, you had 10 field trips over this past year. I think you said you reached over 2,000 local students.
Yes. Yeah. So we are expanding our school groups quite a lot. And a good thing, we do have a school and parks program with the whole division. So with that, we get certain teachers from schools in the area, and they get assigned to our park, and then we work with them throughout the year to get them to come to field trips to the state park. And then for other schools that may not have enough funding, our Friends group, which is the volunteer group for the park.
Oh, talk about them. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's right.
so they actually can help reimburse schools that can't afford to come out for a field trip. So if cost is an issue, there's a lot of different programs in place to get those school field trips out, as well as we do a lot of outreach programs. So going to schools for career days, or like bringing a program in a bucket, whether it be Skins and Skulls or some water quality programs. So if schools can't come to us, we try to go to them.
And so the schools have the ability to, obviously you have some built-in programming that you guys facilitate. Can schools also contact and, reach out to you and say, hey, we're studying this. Is there a field trip or a program that you could design to help facilitate education on this particular topic that may not be in your regular menu?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of the cool things is, our NC state standards for schools are all online. So if I get a school group, say kindergartners, that's a bad example. They don't have really good standards. Sorry, I don't know why I said kindergartners.
That's all right.
So third grade science, and they're learning about something specific, and they don't see it as a program we've done before. I can work with the teacher and based off those standards to develop a program for them that they can take back to the classroom and talk about what we learned at the park, so that it's relevant to the students.
Sure.
And it's something that they can see that they're learning in the classroom outdoors as well.
Yeah, okay, great.
Yeah. So it's really tailored to that group, to what the teacher
That's a great
wants.
service to be able to offer, as opposed to just, you can come, we've got these 5 programs. If one doesn't fit your mold, there's other opportunities out there.
Oh, yeah. And I think it means a lot more to the students when it's something that they can relate to and that they've learned about in the classroom.
Sure.
Especially that aha moment, like, oh, yeah, I know what this is. So, yeah. It's really
Very
cool
cool.
thing we do. Yeah.
And staying on topic with people coming out to the park, you mentioned a million visitors to the park in 2023.
Yeah, just under 1 million visitors.
Yeah.
So we are a highly visited park. Yeah, Lake Norman. If you come out on a holiday weekend, this past year, we have had to close our swim beach and have one in, one out. And people will wait in a line down State Park Road for hours to get into our
Whoa.
swim beach, which is like you wouldn't think about. But then the locals who come all the time, they're like, what big event's going on? It's like,
You're like,
people
"It's
just
a
want to go
Saturday."
to the park.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Saturday.
it's not a big event.
People love it. I will say that when we're looking for like user-generated content to build excitement about coming to the greater Statesville area as a market for visitors to travel here, that we can always count on someone checking in and putting amazing content at the state park, whether it's at the beach or hiking trail or biking. Like someone's always doing something cool out there, and we love it. So. What is it for? I know Richard knows with his life and recreation and parks, and I know because of now leaning into tourism. But for our listeners, why would I come to Lake Norman State Park? Like, tell us about.
And what can I do there?
Yeah, with all the great things that we can do at Lake Norman State Park.
So many things. So I think on the weekends, one of the biggest draws is we have picnic tables and grills set up down by our swim beach. And so you can come swim with your family. From Memorial Day to Labor Day, we do provide lifeguards. So there is a small fee to swim, but you're paying for the lifeguards there.
Right.
Can't put a price on safety.
Yes, exactly. Especially in a lake. You never know what's going to...
Right.
Yeah. So having those picnic areas available for families, we get a lot of huge family gatherings that'll come out. We have picnic shelters that you can rent if you have bigger groups. We have just over 30 miles of mountain biking trails. So if you're into mountain biking, and those are helped maintained by the Tar Heel Trailblazers, which is another volunteer group in the community that's helping to keep those trails up and running. As well as we have a 6-mile lakeshore loop, which is just hiking, and then a few smaller other trails. So if you have tiny kids, we have a .25 Dragonfly Trail Loop, which is ADA accessible, stroller accessible, and there's interactive educational signs on the side. And then we do offer canoe, kayak, paddleboard, and pedal boat rentals on the weekends. So it's $10 per hour per boat. So that's another fun draw, as well as camping. We got a boat ramp. So whatever you have an interest in, you could definitely find it at the park.
I'm always
think
learning
so.
something new. Did you know about the Dragonfly Loop?
I did.
Accessible? I did not.
Yeah.
So we're kicking off a partnership with Outdoor NC, and really featuring the outdoors in this area, and they're really leaning into featuring accessible trails. And so we're going to have to talk offline about
Yeah.
getting that, and guides that can that are enjoying taking people around and doing things out there at the park. So you have a pretty, I'm going to say it wrong. Say the name of the one, the bike trail.
Itusi.
Itusi.
Yes, yeah. So originally, the park was home to the Catawba Native American people.
Okay.
And Itusi is their word for hawk. So we do have a lot of hawks in the park, so that's how it got the name. Yeah. Little
Okay.
background history for you.
Things
Yeah.
I did not know.
That's right. Just add it to the list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the Friends of Lake Norman, and because there's a wide variety of events that you guys have really been. Seems like it's getting more and more, and it's really cool. We try to highlight them in our event rundown. I know we talked about Project Wet Some and the Star Party you have coming up in August, but tell us about what's we are at the end of August. So, tell us about what you have coming up the rest of the year, and then some of the other events. Just like I know you guys did the solar eclipse viewing. That was cool.
Yeah.
Tell us about some of that.
Some of the events we have coming up, so we have professional development events for informal and non-formal teachers. So that would be Project Wet. It actually got pushed out until October, I want to say.
Okay.
Just because the storm that came through, we pushed it out. And then we have Project Food, Land, and People. So both of those they're designed for either teachers that are in the classroom that want to have more education on how they can teach about water, how they can teach about where our food comes to students, or they're for non-formal educators. So if you're a librarian and you want to know more about how you can talk about these subjects to students. So that's a really cool one for professional development for people. We did just have our end of summer celebration and s'mores. So that was sponsored by our Friends group. That is a yearly event. So International S'mores Day is August 10th, if you did not know. So
I didn't know that. So there you go.
so every August 10th.
Need to celebrate that next year.
We do s'mores, and then we'll do free boat rentals sponsored by our
cool.
Friends group. So our Friends group will provide free boat rentals for the whole day for the public to come out and use our boats. So it's a good time, if you've never used the boats before, to come out and try and test them out. We also have a few volunteer events, such as in September we have National Public Lands Day, and then in October our Catawba River Sweep. So those are two events where if you want to come back and give back to your state parks or just your public land that's around you, those are great events for you to come out to.
Are those like a pickup or?
Yeah, so National Public Lands Day will actually be doing something with our trails to help get them nice and... Not too sure about the details just yet, but if you look on our website, when we know them, we'll post them up there. And then the river sweep is we go out either by paddling. If you have a motorized boat, you can bring that, or you can walk the shorelines and help just pick up trash from the summer season that has been on our waterways. And then we do a haunted hike slightly haunted hike for Halloween. It's very kid friendly, but we encourage people to dress up. And then our gingerbread house competition at the end of the year to round it out. And then in addition to all these big events that we have throughout the year, monthly we try to host at least 2 to 3 free programs for the public that are ranger-led. So these are just first come, first serve. You call and register for them. Some of the ones that we do are small hikes for groups, fishing with a ranger, so we provide all the bait and tackle. You just have to show up, and you can come fishing with us. We'll take people kayaking or canoeing and try and see what's in the water. So a wide variety of programs like that. And then we have our storybook walk on our Alder Trail, and that changes every 2 months. So it's a short, under a mile trail, and we'll have a story walk on there, so you can hike along the trail and then read a picture book to your...
Cool.
Yeah.
Now,
So
things
lots
like
of
the gingerbread house competition stuff, do those take place at the visitor center there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And if it's anywhere else other than the visitor center, we have a whiteboard outside the visitor center, as well as our website will say the location of the event.
And speaking of the visitor center, you guys will you rent some of that space for meetings and stuff?
Yes. So
Okay.
we have a few rental facilities. So our biggest would be our community building. That's for rent.
How large is that?
It can hold seating. It's just under 100 people. Standing, I want to say it's 120. It is listed on our website.
Okay.
And it's an indoor-outdoor space, has a wraparound porch, and it is in a section of the park that's closed off unless you reserve it. So we get a lot of weddings, baby showers, birthday party celebrations down there, and it's really cool because it's like your own little section of the park for the day. And the building's off, you have a view of the water all around you, especially in the fall and winter when you don't have as many leaves on the trees. You just get beautiful views of Lake Norman. So, yeah, it's a good rental facility. Then we have 4 rentable picnic shelters that people can rent. 2 of them do have electricity if you need that. The other 2 do not. And all those come with their picnic tables. There's a water source nearby, and then a grill for people to grill at. You can bring your own grills, but there's one there because you need it. And then inside the visitor center, we have a classroom and an auditorium. The classroom has a sink, so it's more for, we get a lot of little birthday parties, like 1 and 2-year-olds have a lot of birthday parties in there, and the sink's a big help, especially when you get messy hands. And then the auditorium has all your AV equipment, so if you have a PowerPoint or presentation you want to do for a meeting, that is available for rent.
That may be what we used. We had a department head staff retreat down there several years ago, and it was great. It's just a great environment because even when you're taking a break, you're walking out, you're just outside in the park, which was it was
Any
nice.
view out there is any view is a
Yeah.
nice view. And then you have some camping rentals too, right? I mean, not just like tent camping. You have some cabins.
Yes, so we do have 6 camper cabins. One is ADA accessible, and they are your bare bone camper cabins. So there is 2 bunk beds in one room, and then in the other room is a full size bed. So you have electricity, air conditioning, or heat if it's the winter, and then there's a communal water source. But you bring everything for the cabin. So you have a fire ring outside with a little grill on top if you want to cook over your fire, a picnic table, but you bring your sheets and all that. But it's an affordable place to go near the lake.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and they're very popular. So you can rent up to 6 months in advance, and especially in the summer, they'll be booked out every weekend. So
Well, I
they're
assume
a
that's-
hot ticket
I
item.
assume that's
yeah.
pretty similar to the regular campsites as well. I mean, most of your state parks, at least in North Carolina, it's not much of an option sometimes to be like, hey, let's go camping this week. If you decide on a Wednesday that you want to go camp at Lake Norman State Park, the likelihood of finding a campsite is probably pretty slim.
Yeah, it's pretty rare, especially if you want a full hookup for an RV site. Those sites go fast. We do only have, I wrote down so I didn't forget, 11 available for rent. 11 full hookup sites, and in total we have 44 sites, but the rest of them are just your standard tent
Primitive sites, yeah.
with a fire ring, picnic table, and then a tent pad. So
And how far in advance can you make campsite reservations?
6 months.
6 months, okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
plan ahead.
yes, plan ahead, especially in the summer. The winter, you'll get lucky. You'll probably find a spot, but the summer months,
With
people
some of
love
these
it.
events coming up, you plan to come camp and do an event too.
Yeah, it'd be cool to camp and do
yeah.
a star party or something like that. That'd be awesome.
And
Oh, yeah.
I want to thank you guys for being such good partners. You really have been good partners in letting us know what's going on and getting all your events put on the community calendar.
Oh, yeah. No.
So,
And y'all have helped to advertise for us because it's amazing how many people don't know we're right there.
Right here in Statesville.
backyard. So,
Right,
Yeah,
right.
this is great to
Right
help
here in
tell
Statesville.
people about.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we do know lots of visitors know about you, but we want to help locals really discover Statesville and be a tourist in their own town, like see
Yeah.
what assets we really have just right here. But also as we continue to spread the word about what an amazing destination is. Statesville is as a destination, especially with the interstates being done and the lights being turned back on. I'm very excited about that. Our interstate lights are on, and and we're working on some things for people to really know that they've reached Statesville. And these 4 exits, they need to be taking them all the way down to the Troutman exit and spend the day enjoying the state park and
Yeah.
come enjoy our amazing revitalized Main Street. And there's just so much to do. So. What else do you want us to know about Lake Norman State Park? Do you have like a fun, what's the craziest thing you've ever found out there? Or do you have a fun story you like to tell people about the park? Or
I have a fun story I like to tell about the park. Well,
yes.
because I live in the park. So one of the best things, or the craziest things I thought that has happened to me, is I was standing out in my front yard and an osprey flew into one of the poplar trees in my front yard, and this huge crash hit the ground, and then it started flopping. And it was a bass.
Really?
This bird
had in its
had
mouth.
taken a
There,
bass from
yeah.
the lake and dropped it, and my dog was going crazy because now there's this fish, and I swear, I know everyone says fish are bigger than they actually were, but I swear it's from my fingertips to like
Really?
my elbow. This thing was huge, and it's flopping in my yard, and we're not like right on the water, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it didn't come down and get it because then my dog was on
I
it
bet
because
that
it was
bird
flopping
Yeah, I
around.
bet that bird was upset.
Oh yeah, he lost his dinner, and it was a good
Yeah.
dinner. But I was like, "This is so cool!" I was like, "I live in the park, and there's a bird in my front yard, or a bird and a fish in my front yard." So,
Do you know
Yeah.
it was a good dinner because you kept it, or?
oh,
Yeah, just rinse that thing off. You're good to go.
my dog got it, and it kind of. yeah. But
That is a great story.
yeah, so I thought that was so cool. You never know what you're going to see out at the park. We do have a lot of wildlife out there, so
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
definitely recommend coming out.
be prepared.
Yeah,
I'd like to catch bass that big. I need to come out
yeah.
Well, you come to one of these free ranger fishing
Yeah.
programs,
Oh, yeah.
and they'll
Yeah,
yep,
fishing.
be well
Yeah.
on your way.
You should see people pulling 4-foot catfishes from the shore at Lake Norman State Park. So if you're a fisherman, definitely come out to the park. We get a lot of them out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds great. So, lifeguard through Labor Day, but then you were saying that the beach is open year round.
Yep, so the beach is open year-round. It's just swim at your own risk when we don't have the lifeguards on, but it is open as long as the park is open. So
Same with boat rentals. You can rent boats throughout the year.
yes, as long as staffing allows it. So in the off-season or when it gets colder, we will close it when the temperatures start to drop too low just for safety. But as long as we have the visitor center staff available, boat rentals are available.
Okay.
And you guys play host to some pretty cool events out there too, right? Like, I think every year there's, I want to call it an Ironman. I don't know what the exact event is called, but you guys play host to a pretty big.
Yes, so we do have a few triathlons and road races that come out throughout the years. Yeah, I think we have. I can't tell you how many come out a year, but you'll know we put up our big signs, and if you see a bunch of runners on the roads, that's we're having another race. So
Right.
yeah, lots of big events for races. We also do the Iredell Soil and Water Conservation brings out all the 5th graders to the park to do a little station. It's in cooperation with Duke. I know comes out as well, just to help educate about water too.
Yeah.
So lots of other events too.
We're focusing a lot as of late or over the past year on this area in Iredell County being destination for cycling, and
yeah.
Norman State Park plays a huge part of that. But we literally have mountain, road, gravel, like dirt. We have it all. So we're going to be reaching out to you because we really wanted to lean into that and even have people do bike rentals and.
Yeah, and you'll see we get a lot of questions. We don't do bike rentals at the park, but we do get a lot of bikers through there just because we got the hills and
Sure.
there's not as
That's a
much
great
road
trail, yeah.
traffic. Yeah. And the speed limit is 25. So
Keep that in mind.
Just a reminder from
Law
the park
enforcement being
ranger.
another aspect of Francis's position there. So.
So, Frances, you mentioned your website, but go ahead and tell our listeners what the website is.
yep. So ncparks.gov is where you can find all our events listed there. You can find our park as well as all the other parks. And any news or alerts that's going on in the parks, they'll be posted at the top of the website in a banner style. So you're always in the loop if you're checking up with our website.
All right. And then all their events are out there too, but they're also on statesonc.com. Like I said, they've been a great partner. So all their events are out there on the community calendar. So thank you. We
Go
appreciate
play.
you coming
Go
out
play.
today.
It's free. Go play down
Yeah.
there.
It's free. That's the best part.
Yeah. An amazing asset right here in our backyard. So thanks, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thank you for joining Discover Statesville. You can email us at discover@statesvillenc.com. Check us out on Facebook at Discover Statesville NC, #Discover Statesville, and our website, statesvillenc.com. Catch us next week as we continue on our journey to uncover the hidden gems, culinary adventures, entertainment, and to be inspired and enlightened as we discover Statesville.